Hi, I'm Keith Dowdle with Cycle News Magazine, and this is the BMW R1300 GS Adventure. We reviewed this motorcycle when they had the press intro over in Europe. We have a full review in Cycle News, you can check that out. But we wanted to get the bike out in the wild, so we came to the wild. We came to Texas to ride the Texas Hill Country Backcountry Discovery Route. And I'll tell you, the bike, it's a big, heavy beast, but it is absolutely capable of doing a route like this. Even when you've got it all loaded down and everything, you change the settings, the suspension settings, put it in Enduro Pro, gives you a lot of different settings for traction control, ABS, power settings, things like that. And it really makes the bike very capable, even when you're riding on terrain that's, you know, can be a challenge on a big motorcycle. Well, as you may be able to tell, we are no longer in Texas. We are back in Georgia. Now we are running the Chattahoochee BDRX. So we rode the Texas Hill Country BDRX, which was fantastic. Back on the big beast. Crazy thing is, I just rode over 1,000 miles from Texas back here to Georgia on this motorcycle, and now I'm back out in the woods riding it off-road on the 2025 BMW R1300 GS Adventure. Yeah, this bike is incredible. What it can do, what it's capable of, the various settings that you put it in, and once you get it in those settings, what it's able to do, what it's capable of doing. Crazy how aggressively you can ride it off-road. You have to trust the electronics for sure. You got to learn to just trust them. Let the bike do what it does. Let the electronics do what they do. You do that, you trust it. Really crazy what this big beast will do. It really allows you to ride in a way that you honestly shouldn't be able to ride a big bike like this. You honestly should not be able to ride a motorcycle that is this big and this heavy the way that you can ride it when you're off-road. It's nuts.
What's up, everybody? I'm sitting here with some of my closest friends in the adventure world from Mitas Tires. We got the Enduro Trail Plus, and we have the Enduro Trail XT Plus. These represent a pretty good range of what Mitas offers in their adventure tiring lineup. This is more like an 80-20. If you're going 80% off-road, you're gonna go with the XT Plus with the big knobs. We just got done doing a review of this in the magazine you can check out. These tires are coming on a lot more OEMs now as a really good all-around on-road, off-road tire. Mitas has been proven in the market. They have Chris Birch on the bike doing some amazing things and helping them develop product, and we're happy to have them on board. Mitas Motor offers tires anything from sport touring all the way to full-on motocross. So to find out what works best for you in your next ride, head to mitas-moto.com or check out your local dealer to see how they can get you on your next ride.
One of the other things that's unique about this motorcycle is the way they've done the switchgear here. So they've tried to eliminate some of the buttons and all up here. You got to go into this little button here. It kind of controls, and then you tell it what you want to control with the Wonder Wheel here. So I can go to the windscreen, and I can go up and down with the windscreen, or I can go to heating. I can say okay. I can turn heating on and off again using this same rocker button. I don't know. I think this is actually pretty good. I don't mind it. I know that there have been some reviews that I've seen that guys are not that crazy about it. You know, if you just do a one-day review, or you go to Europe and you do a global press intro, you don't get that much time on the bike. So it's nice to be able to have the bike for a long-term review like this, because you learn what it's like to actually own it. And as you become more and more familiar with these things, they just become second nature, and you don't have to keep fumbling with it the way you do when you're on a one-day ride and you really don't have the bike all figured out yet. BMW is nice enough to give us a long-term loan. Now these bags, they are different from the previous generation 1250 bags, and they're different in just the shape, the way they are and everything. They do have some functionality that's kind of cool. They've got chargers in them and stuff like that, but as you can see, there's stuff in here that makes it difficult. When this thing is totally full, getting stuff in and out of it can be a challenge. The other thing that I'm not crazy about is I like taking the thing all the way off like that, okay? That way, if I've got to do something, I can put it on the ground, put my tools in here. It makes it much easier to access everything that's in here. But this mechanism that they have on here now, you can see it has to move in several different directions. Okay, it's got to move that way. This thing has got to move that way. It can be cumbersome to use. I do prefer the bags that they had on the 1250. And see, I mean, I've been using it enough now that I know how to get it on and off pretty quickly. And I can make it work pretty quickly, but at first it was a challenge to try and figure out how to make these bags work. But they do have chargers in them. They've got, you know, this is where the top case thing plugs in. So you've got a place where you've got a light in the top case. You have a USB charger in the top case. So that's kind of cool. The other thing about these bags is, my God, look how wide they are. I actually had a dream when I was in Texas that I got stopped because my bags were too wide. I mean, they are enormously wide, and you may have seen other reviews. BMW stuck this little piece on the crash bar there, and honestly, I think they did it because if you look at where the bag is at, the bag comes out still even further than that little piece. So, yeah, I don't know. I almost would prefer, well, if this were my bike, I'd be running soft luggage anyway, but I think those bags could be just slightly narrower. Well, we're back after riding 2 backcountry discovery routes. We rode this motorcycle from Georgia to Texas. Freeways, backcountry roads, just had a great time. Wanted to get an idea of what it was like to travel, actually traveling on a motorcycle like this versus a press intro, and we got that thanks to a customer who loaned us these bags. BMW is having some trouble filling all their customer orders for bags, so press bikes are not currently coming with bags on them, but we got the panniers and the top case from a customer who loaned them to us, so we had the opportunity to really get the full experience of the new 2025 R1300 GS Adventure. Like I said earlier in the video, we did our initial review of this bike after the global press intro, which was held over in Spain. You can check that out in cyclenews.com. But we wanted to do a long-term review, really understand what it's like to own a bike like this, to ride it, to travel on it, to ride backcountry discovery routes, and do the kinds of things that most people are going to do with this kind of a bike. Not everybody's going to choose this particular bike to ride a backcountry discovery route, but one of the things that we wanted to let you know is that it is fully capable, and there are guys who do ride big motorcycles like this on backcountry discovery routes. The trend is kind of towards smaller motorcycles. I get that. I own a KTM 890 Rally myself. This is not the kind of motorcycle that you're going to ride a BDR the way you would ride a KTM 890 Rally on a BDR. You're certainly not going to use that style of riding, but it is absolutely capable, and it is pretty crazy how aggressive you can get on a big motorcycle like this when you're off-road. So we were thrilled that BMW loaned us this motorcycle for a long-term review. Like I said, we did 2 backcountry discovery routes, and one of the main things we wanted to focus on those off-road routes was the fact that this bike does not have a clutch on it, right? It's got the new automated shift assist. BMW is specific about calling it automated rather than automatic because the transmission is just like any other motorcycle transmission. It shifts in the exact same way. It's just that it's helping you with the clutch. And on some of these brands that we've tested in the past, you get off-road, they're fine on the road. They're actually very fun on the road. But once you get off-road, it becomes a challenge because you need that rock, you need that clutch to help you in certain situations when you're off-road. So we wanted to see how it was with the new GS, especially the GS Adventure, being that it's 593 pounds, which by the way, is the identical weight of the 1250 GS Adventure. Kind of crazy how they made the numbers come so close on these bikes. But anyway, what we found with the automated shift assist on this bike is that it really works fantastic off-road. You wouldn't think it would, but when you're in manual mode, the bike has so much power, 143 horsepower, 110 pounds of torque. It's crazy how much power you can actually deliver to the ground with the new Evo parallel rear suspension, the new Evo telelever front suspension. The bike is really planted. And they moved the transmission on the motor on this 1300 engine. They moved the transmission from kind of the back of the bike to underneath the motor, from the back of the motor to kind of underneath the motor. So it kind of lowers the center of gravity and it helps you to just keep the bike planted even when you're off-road on loose technical terrain. So the automated shift assist, I'm absolutely a fan of it. I think it's so fun. When you're traveling on a motorcycle like this, long distance, which BMW knows 90% of the customers who buy this motorcycle probably will never take it off-road. And this transmission and this bike is so good for touring. When you're out on the freeway, you know, it's got the electronic windscreen that you can adjust up and down. It's got active cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane change warnings, collision avoidance on it. So this bike is packed with technology for riding down the freeway. But again, we wanted to get it off-road and really see what it was like. The different modes that you can go through, it's got rain, eco, road, and dynamic. And you can opt for the Dynamic Pro or the Enduro Pro. I like the Enduro Pro because I can go in there, I can change the damping settings, I can change the power settings, I can change the traction control settings. And it makes it so that the bike becomes exactly what you want when you're off-road, even when you're fully loaded down like this. It just works incredible. It's crazy how good a big bike like this can work with the new technology. And, you know, rider aids can be controversial, but when you're riding a 593-pound motorcycle, you want rider aids. You need some rider aids, especially the brakes. The brakes are so good on this bike. You can come into a turn when you're in Enduro Pro and you can just drill the front brake and it finds traction. It finds grip to help you stop. And likewise, when you're in Enduro Pro, the back, of course, is completely free. You can slide the back around to change direction when you're off-road. The bike it's really incredible. I own a 1250 GS Adventure. It's one of my personal bikes. I think it's one of the best motorcycles I've ever ridden in my life, I tell people, and I ride a lot of motorcycles, so that's saying something. I think BMW's biggest challenge with this bike is going to be getting those guys off of the 1250s and onto the 1300, because the 1250 is such a great platform already that moving up to something like this, with the expense and all involved, you know, it's going to be a challenge. The looks of the bike are another thing that they're kind of off-putting to some people, right? Some people don't like the way it looks. I actually think it looks better in person than it does in the pictures. But again, styling is personal choice, right? You may like it, you may not. This bike also has active height control. What do they call it? This bike also has what they're calling adaptive ride height. Is that it? Adaptive ride height? Adaptive vehicle height control and adaptive vehicle height comfort. So that does some things for you. You come to a stop, it lowers the motorcycle down. It really makes the bike much more accessible to a larger group of people. I'm 5'9". This bike fits me perfectly, but it is nice when you slow down and come to a stop that the bike lowers itself down. You don't have to worry about putting your foot down and not having enough space or not being able to get your foot all the way flat-footed on the ground. So another thing that it does for you that's kind of cool that I'll do a little demonstration for you. For one, they've got this little piece here. I don't know if you can see that it helps you get it up on the center stand. Keep your eye on the back of the motorcycle. You can see that it raises up. Now watch the front of the bike. You can see that it raises up. Really helps you get the bike up on the center stand, and it works really great. It really does. One of the things I pointed out earlier about these bags is how overly complicated they are. And one of the things that the reason I'm saying that is if you look at that mechanism there, that's what holds the bag onto the bracket. And as long as that's clean, as long as it's well lubricated, I can't imagine that that's going to work great when it's full of grit and grime and dirt. I don't know, I feel like these bags are just overly complicated and they don't really need to be. So overall, what do we think about this bike? Well, in typical GS fashion, it is a great motorcycle. You can't go wrong. If you're in the market for adventure bike that's capable of touring long distance, 7.9 gallons of fuel, this thing will go for days before you're ready to stop for fuel. I have only a couple of small complaints about the bike. One, the windscreen on this thing, this has the taller windscreen on it. I've seen reviews where guys say that the wind protection is good. I don't think it's that great, frankly. I think the wind protection on the 1250 is better, but windscreens are windscreens. There'll be a million different aftermarket companies making windscreens, so that's easily fixable. The other thing that I'm not a huge fan of are these bags, but this kind of luggage is nice if you're touring out on the road, and there are features that these bags have that make them super handy. One, there's a charging port in both the top and the left side bag. Can charge, for me, I was charging my camera gear while I was out on the BDRs. This top case also has a light in it, and yeah, they're really nice bags, but they are fairly complicated with a lot of moving mechanisms in there that I'm just worried once they get dirty and worn, they're going to become a problem. So that would be the only kind of complaint I have about this bike. Other than that, it's a fantastic motorcycle. I am absolutely thrilled with it. Will I trade in my 1250 GS Adventure for this one? I don't know. That's going to be a hard sell. Like I said earlier, the 1250 is already such a great platform. I personally like the way the 1250 looks more than I like the way this bike looks. But again, that's personal choice. You may love the way this bike looks, and if you do, it's an absolutely incredible motorcycle. I would tell you though, don't be afraid of automated shift assist because it works fantastic. And once you get used to it, it is really great. And I know there's a lot of haters out there. I won my first trophy racing motocross in 1974. Showing my age here, but I've been doing this a long time. And if an old guy like me can learn to use this and enjoy it, then you probably can too. And I'll tell you, once you learn to use it, it is fantastic. So check out our full review on cyclenews.com and in the magazine, and we'll see you next time.